Okay. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Terrence Patterson, and welcome to the April 8th, 2021 meeting of the Rules, Policy, and Governance Committee of the Tennessee Public Charter School Commission. This meeting is being held virtually via web conference, and this meeting includes a public dial-in option that is available on the Charter Commission's website. I would like to introduce Ashley Thomas, the Commission's General Counsel. Ashley, would you please reference the circumstances behind the virtual meeting and the relevant TCA section?
Sure. This is Ashley Thomas. Given the current COVID-19 pandemic and concerns for public safety and welfare, as well as the pandemic's impact on the Commission's budget, this Commission meeting is being conducted by electronic means as provided by TCA 8-44-108 and Governor Lee's Executive Order 78. Additionally, Executive Order 78 requires those speaking to identify themselves in a manner capable of permitting the public to ascertain the identity of the person speaking. This meeting is being recorded and will be available after its conclusion via link on the Commission's website, and a call-in number was provided on the Commission's website for the public to participate.
This is Terrence Patterson. Thank you, Ashley. As a reminder, all votes of the Commission are conducted via taking a roll call vote. So prior to speaking, make sure you identify yourself when making a motion or also voting. I guess now we'll take a roll call vote. Chase, could you please take a roll call of the commissioners present?
Yes, this is Chase Ingle. Commissioner Levine, Commissioner Tucker
Here.
is present, and Chairman Patterson
Here.
is present. You have a quorum.
All right, well, let's take a look at the agenda. Today's agenda includes the committee action on some key policies. We'll hear outstanding LEA policies on final reading. And I apologize. This is Terrence Patterson. Additionally, we'll hear commission policies as a part of the committee's responsibility to review all of the policies on an annual basis. And then we'll also be doing recommendations for any necessary changes to the full commission. We'll then continue our discussion of the annual review process for our executive director. And then finally, we'll conclude our meeting with a preliminary discussion on the development of an annual self-evaluation process of the full commission and its members. Wendy or anyone else have any comments regarding the agenda before we vote to approve it?
This is Wendy Tucker. I do not.
Is there a motion? This is Terrence Patterson. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
This is Wendy Tucker. I so move.
This is Chairman Patterson. I second. Is there any discussion? And I do believe Alan has joined us. Alan, are you listening in? Thought I saw him flash up. I guess we'll go ahead and proceed. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing that there's none. Chase, could you please take a roll call vote?
Yeah, Chase Ingle. Commissioner Levine
Yeah, here. Yes. Yes, I vote yes.
votes aye. Commissioner Tucker
Aye.
votes aye. Chairman Patterson
Aye.
votes aye. The agenda is approved.
Okay, great. We'll move to the next matter of business, and that is the approval of the minutes for our February 4th, 2021 meeting. The minutes of the committee meeting held on February 4th, 2021 have been provided. Does anyone have any edits to make regarding the prior minutes before we proceed? Seeing that there are none, is there a motion to approve the minutes of the February 4th meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second? And just for clarification, it was Alan Levine that made the motion for this, and this is Terrence Patterson. Any further discussion? Okay. Chase, could you please take the roll call vote for us?
Chase Ingle. Commissioner Levine
Here. Yes.
votes aye. Commissioner Tucker
Aye.
Votes aye. Chairman Patterson.
Aye.
Votes aye. The minutes are approved from February 4th.
Great. Thank you. This is Terrence Patterson. So the first item on our agenda is the final reading of outstanding LEA policies concerning the Commission's work as an authorizer. These policies include fiscal management, support services, instructional support, personnel, and students. And for the purposes of our discussion, I'd like for our General Counsel, Ashley, to walk the committee through the policy that have changes from the first reading before we take a vote. Ashley?
Sure, thank you. This is Ashley Thomas. As Chairman said, at the February 4th committee meeting, several LEA policies were presented on first reading. The committee discussed those policies and recommended edits and changes prior to a final vote recommendation. Today's discussion, I'll focus on those edits and changes only, but I will state for the record that all of the Commission's LEA policies are available on our website for viewing. The first policy with a substantive change is policy 3400. This policy was edited to highlight transportation language as a requirement of a special education student's related services. Then the title of policy 5107 was changed to student privacy after employee separation. And that was to emphasize that this policy is to protect student information when an employee is no longer employed by a charter school. Policy 6206, added language restricting discrimination for any reason prohibited by state and or federal law. Policy 6313 was amended to emphasize the circumstances surrounding discipline for students with disabilities. Policy 6316 was also amended to emphasize the circumstances surrounding suspension, expulsion, and remand for students with disabilities. And then finally, all footnotes in the 6000 series dealing with students were updated to include reference to policies 1801 and 1802 being the ADA and section 504 policies that are currently in the board operation series. Unless there are other questions or edits, I will recommend a positive recommendation on these final readings.
This is Terrence Patterson. Are there any questions from either of the commissioners?
This is Wendy Tucker. I don't have a question. I just wanted to thank Ashley for making the changes that we discussed at the last meeting. I really appreciate it. And I am ready to make a motion whenever the discussion is completed.
This is Terrence Patterson. Great, thanks, Wendy. So I think we're ready for the vote on the outstanding LEA policies in the 2000 series, the 3000 series, the 4000 series, 5000 series, and 6000 series. So do we have a motion to approve the LEA policies incorporating the changes made by council on final reading and recommend for adoption by the full commission?
This is Wendy Tucker. So moved. Do I need to say all that over again, or can I just say so moved?
This is Terrence Patterson. I think it's fine for so moved. Is there a second?
This is Alan. I agree. Second.
Great. This is Terrence Patterson. Chase, could you take a roll call vote?
This is Chase Single. Commissioner Levine.
This is Commissioner Levine. Yes.
Votes aye. Commissioner Tucker.
Aye.
Votes aye. Chairman Patterson.
Aye.
Votes aye. The LEA policies are approved on final reading.
Great. This is Terrence Patterson. The second item on our agenda are items for first reading. And so these are the commission policies for this committee to consider. Again, they are for approval on first reading today. The policies guide the commission's operations and authorizer responsibilities. And this review is being completed as a part of the committee's responsibilities to annually review the commission's policy. So I'll again turn it over to our general counsel, Ashley, to provide the committee with an overview of these policies and the proposed changes.
Thank you. This is Ashley Thomas. As the chairman stated, part of the committee's work does include conducting an annual review and edit of operational policies. These policies are being presented to the committee as a first draft for discussion on first reading. I will state that Assistant Attorney General Chanel Tyler did suggest a review of the commission policy organization, and so some of those changes will be reflected in the numbering of the policies. Other changes include language, and I will go through and point that out for the committee's consideration. The 1000 series does address commission operations. In policy 1.100, I've updated the conflict of interest form to include additional disclosures for the commission members, These additional disclosures include information regarding financial contributions and memberships or affiliations. Policy 1.300 is a new policy regarding personnel. This policy details the job functions of the executive director, hiring of the staff, and the representation by the executive director of the commission at public hearings and other approved meetings. The public records policy has been renumbered from 3.000 to 1.400 to move it under the commission operations. This policy does detail the procedures the commission staff will follow upon receipt of a public records request. I will note as a flag for the committee that the commission's rules surrounding public records requests were filed with the Secretary of State on April 5th, 2021, and are scheduled to be effective on July 4th. My recommendation on the adoption of this policy may change by our next committee meeting. That completes the 1000 series. I'll try to answer any questions or note any edits the committee may have at this time.
This is Terrence Patterson. I don't think we have any.
Okay, I was just wanted to make sure.
But no, thank you. Appreciate you giving us opportunity. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I will move on to the 2000 series, which addresses commission appeals. Policy 2.000 addresses the process of filing an appeal. Language was added in this policy to indicate that the commission may conduct a general due diligence review in preparing its recommendation. Policy 2.100 reorganizes the interview procedures. Policy 2.200 does include new language, which sets forth the reconciliation procedures if the commission becomes an authorizer as a result of the appeal. This particular language indicates that both the charter school and the LEA shall submit proof of the LEA's jurisdiction within 30 days of the commission's decision, and failure to provide such proof will result in the commission being the authorizer. Those are the only substantive changes other than the reorganization of the numbering. And so I'll pause here if there are any questions regarding the 2000 series. I don't believe the committee has any questions. Okay, so I will move on to the 3000 series, which is a newly numbered series, and it addresses the functions of the commission as an authorizer. This series was previously numbered as a 4000 series. And as I stated earlier, when we moved the public records policy to the 1000 series, that left a gap in the series numbering. And so we moved the ones that were previously 4000 to the 3000 series. As a result of that, the 4000 series has now been eliminated. The newly numbered policies 3.100 and 3.200 reflect a minor language change, and we're using the word authorizer instead of sponsor. Policy 3.300 indicates that the site visits conducted reference to the state board's quality charter authorizing standards rather than an outdated state board policy, which was 4.110, I believe. Policy 3.800 also incorporated the use of the term authorizer. I would like to note for the committee that subsequent to the policies being loaded onto the website, I did edit the references within the policy to reflect the new organization and numbering. I believe that is all I had for the commission policies. If there were any other questions, I'll answer those now.
This is Commissioner Terrence Patterson. Thank you. Actually, I think that was really helpful to break them down. I mean, the substantive modification, I guess, for the listening public is really around renumbering and reorganizing the policies as we go forward. And I think, again, our general counsel has done a good job of laying that out for us. Do any of the members have any additional questions or comments? And if not, I would entertain a motion to approve the commission series on first reading and recommend approval by the full commission on first reading.
So moved.
Levine, second.
Great. This is Terrence Patterson, and just for clarification, it was Wendy Tucker that made the motion. Chase, could you please take the roll call vote for us?
This is Chase Engel. Commissioner Levine
Aye.
votes aye. Commissioner Tucker
Aye.
votes aye. And Chairman Patterson
Aye.
votes aye. The series are approved on first reading.
Great. Thank you. This is Terrence Patterson. We'll move to the next item on our agenda. And this is the update of the annual evaluation process for our executive director, Tess Stovall. So I'll turn it over to, or I'll recognize Commissioner Levine and Tess Stovall to discuss the process with the committee. Tess and Alan.
Tess, do you want to go or do you want me to do it?
I'm happy to go, and then how about you add in anything that I may have missed, if that works for you?
Have at it.
So Commissioner Levine and I got together in between the last committee meeting and today to discuss the annual review process. And we really talked about how to both mesh what the state's requirements are around the annual review process for state employees, but also thinking about how do we ensure that we're being very strategic and thoughtful around both goal setting and feedback to me as the executive director. So what has been provided to this committee today for full review and adoption is an annual review process that both streamlines the process for feedback to me, but also allows for the full commission to provide feedback as a part of the annual review process. So what we have presented to you is that Chairman Griscom of the full committee will provide me and conduct the interim reviews that happen in April and June, that I will complete a self-assessment as a part of those interim reviews, and that the commission chair will conduct that interim review process and provide me written feedback, and that a part of the transparency to the full commission is that we will share those interim reviews with the full commission in writing for your consideration, and if you have any additional questions or points that you would like to talk to me about. As a part of the annual review process, which will occur in September, Commissioner Levine and I decided that we would conduct a survey of commission members, that they would be allowed to provide written feedback to me as a part of the annual review process, and Chair Griscom would then consolidate all of that written feedback from all of the commissioners, as well as provide additional written feedback based on his interactions to me to conduct that annual review process. And then both my self-evaluation and the final written comments provided to me by the chair would be provided to the full commission, so that you all are aware of what information was and feedback was provided to me. The other thing that I wanted to note is that Commissioner Levine and I had a really good conversation about thinking about next year's goals. So when we think about how to develop my own goals for future cycles, to move them to a much more strategic and I would say higher level, as opposed to less nitty-gritty benchmarky, but really thinking more alignment to the commission's future strategic plan, which we'll be looking at later in 2021, and thinking about developing goals that are strategic enough that they're not shifting greatly year to year, but really thinking about what does the future of the commission look like, and how do I, as the staff leader of the commission, really support that work. So I think what this committee will be looking at as we move into the next annual review cycle is really supporting me in developing those higher level strategic goals and ensuring alignment of those goals to the commission's future strategic plan. And I would like to turn it over to Commissioner Levine to add in anything that he would like to share from our conversations.
Well, I would just say if there's anything you cannot criticize the state of Tennessee for, it would be a lack of evaluations of people in leadership, because I've never seen so many evaluations, the interim evaluations, the annual evaluation. And frankly, my concern with the way it's structured is really the initial pass that I saw. It gets the commission into having to develop not just the strategy, but what are the tactics at the tactical level? And frankly, I don't think that's a good use of the commission's time when the commission's got so many bigger issues to tackle. And so I felt like it was important that we provide high-level strategic guidance for the leadership, and what are some of those big strategic goals, and time more to the larger strategic goals, and leave the tactics to Tess and her team. So I mean, otherwise we're going to spend all year every meeting talking about getting into the weeds on tactics, and we're going to lose sight of what we're trying to actually accomplish as a commission. So and to be candid, I came at this not really understanding the depth of the process that the state has. So I want to be respectful of that process. But I think in my view, I think the volume and depth and breadth of evaluation is overkill personally. But I think we landed in a pretty good place while respecting the state's policies.
This is Terrence Patterson. Thank you, Commissioner and Tess. This is really helpful. And Alan, I tend to agree with you. Just in my review, it looked like there was a lot of overkill, and so really appreciate you taking the time to parse through the compliance with what made sense for us to allow Tess and her team to really get work done. So really appreciate that.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity, Mr. Chairman.
Are there any other comments or feedback? Good. Okay. Well, at the full commission meeting tomorrow on Friday, April 9th, I will provide an update to the commission on our next steps regarding the annual evaluation process, and it'll obviously be reflective of these comments, and I will likely lean to the two of you to provide any further color that I may miss. So thank you again. Let's move now to the final item on our agenda today, and that will be to have the initial discussion of the commission's self-evaluation process and stakeholder feedback. So now I'd like to recognize our Executive Director, Tess, so that she can walk through or discuss the process with the committee.
Great, thank you. This is Tess Stovall. The purpose of this agenda item was just to preview some of the conversations that I would encourage that this committee carve out time for in July around both the development of a commission self-evaluation and us to think about how that self-evaluation information will drive some of our strategic planning work that we plan to engage in towards the back end of 2021. So my suggestion is that between now and July, that I begin, along with the staff and feedback from this committee, to begin pulling together some potential information on, self-evaluations for the board, the purpose of this, how we want to be thinking about the use of this information, so that in the July conversation, we can really nail down what questions do we want to be asking as a part of that board self-evaluation, what information and what's the use of that information. Because ultimately, I think the goal that I've been hearing both from you all as a committee as well as from other commission members is that we really want to be ensuring that we are taking time to get feedback from you all about what you need to grow and develop as in your role as commissioners. And that a part of the self-evaluation is that you reflecting back on, here are areas where we would like to receive additional training, here's areas where we need further information, here's areas where we feel like in order to do our jobs well, we need to be getting deeper. And so what I'm really thinking about is us carving out that time in July to have a fuller conversation about that board self-evaluation such that we're able to conduct it sometime between our July meeting and our October meeting, so that when we're thinking about our strategic planning process in the fall, that this is one area of information and feedback that we've collected data on that will inform our strategic plan. So I just wanted to make sure that this was on your radar screen, that if you have any initial feedback that you want us to consider as we think about our July meeting, would love to hear it both here, or you want to think about it and we can set up some time offline, happy to do that as well. So I'll open it up to the full committee if you have any initial comments on this topic.
This is Terrence Patterson. I think an important aspect for me will just be making sure that we really include stakeholder feedback. And really throughout our entire time together, just making sure that we are providing channels and opportunities for one, the public to listen to and us have transparency on what we are doing, but then also getting feedback so that we can continue to not only be a best in class organization, but also be responsive to the needs of our community, a very diverse community across a very diverse state. And so just making sure that we're capturing that'd be my initial reaction. Alan or Wendy, I don't know if you guys would have anything that you'd like to add.
This is Alan. Wendy, if you have something to say, you can go first. I'll wait.
This is Wendy Tucker. I agree wholeheartedly with what you just said, Terrence. So that's really, I can't say it better. So ditto.
You know, the only thing I would say, I agree as well. Of course, if you ask open-ended questions, you got to be prepared for the answers you're going to get. And I would only suggest that, you know, we're not arbiters of the policy that establishes the commission or that establishes the fact that there are charter schools in Tennessee. And I wouldn't want this evaluation of our performance by stakeholders to be turned into a forum for opposing the policy. If however we structure the evaluation, I think Terrence hit some really important points. I mean, are we being transparent? Are we being responsive? Are we administering the policy in a way that's seemingly fair? Those are important questions. And so however we structure the tool, I would only advocate that the tool be very tightly and narrowly structured. So the feedback we get from stakeholders really is about our performance and not about the policy.
Right. No, this is Terrence Patterson. Two really good points. So thank you for making those.
Great, thank you for this is Testo. I'll thank for that feedback. Again, we will probably be coming back to you all between and probably before the July meeting, just to make sure that we are aligning and providing those discussion topics to really nail down at our July committee meeting what this is going to look like. So I appreciate this initial feedback. I've taken those notes, but we look forward to continuing this conversation over the next couple months.
Great. This is Terrence Patterson. Thank you, Tess, and thank you, Commissioner. So at the full commission meeting tomorrow, I'll be providing an update to the commission on our next steps regarding the self-evaluation process, and obviously, Tess, to the extent you'd like to annotate, we'll hope you could do that also. Well, if there's nothing further, I want to thank everyone for their attendance and participation at the meeting today. And not only thank you for your attendance and participation, but also the pre-work and the time that went into the review, and also just thought for all of the topics that we covered today at the Rules, Policy, and Governance Committee of the Tennessee Public Charter Commission. So at this time, I just would open it up if there were any final comments before we ask for a motion to adjourn.
I just hope that we can point out to Chair Griscom that Chair Patterson got his meeting done an hour early. So
I do pride myself on that. Thank you, Mr. Levine.
I move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
There is. This is Wendy Tucker, second.
This is Terrence Patterson. Chase, could you please take the roll call vote?
Yes, sir. Chase Ingle. Commissioner Levine
Aye.
votes aye. Commissioner Tucker
Aye.
votes aye. Chairman Patterson
Aye.
votes aye. The motion is approved.
Okay, this is Terrence Patterson. Thank you. The next meeting of the committee is scheduled for July 12th, 2021. I hope you all have a great afternoon, and I look forward to seeing you guys all tomorrow at our full commission meeting. We stand adjourned.
Thanks.
Okay.
See y'all.
Thank you
See
all.
you guys.
Thank you.